So I'm back. First job is sort out the network. I'm going to go and find all my network testing tools because it's been a while since I installed all the cabling and I've forgotten which port goes to which place. So network testing tools required. So I'm also going to take the opportunity to sort out the network comms cabinet, which is a mess. That's where we'll get started after I've figured out which cables go to where. So that's all the access points. It cost me 44 bucks for a 20 kilo bag to bring them back. So that's the mess that we're currently dealing with. I'm going to tidy that up and label all of the cables. I've been going around in circles. The only way to get this done is to just get started. But I need to try and ensure that we keep internet live while I'm doing this exercise, otherwise the mama is going to moan. So I'm going to disconnect from the Starlink access point and plug that straight into the M5 deco here, and then hopefully the mesh will keep the network up and running. So I've plugged the cable from the Starlink straight into the main deco that's up here, and I've switched off the switches. So let's go back inside and see if we've still got internet. So we still have internet. Let's just try a new one. Let's go to Yahoo, for example. Maybe we don't have internet. Okay, so we've got internet coming off the deco main one in here, but for some reason it doesn't seem to be meshing to the one in the house. I'm going to go to the garage and see if it's meshing to that one, which means by default it should be meshing to mom's. Let's go and see. Okay, so it's meshing to here. So first thing I have to do is figure out which cables on the patch panel go to where. I'm going to start in the office because this is a place where we need to get internet set up urgently, otherwise Mandy gets withdrawal symptoms. Not as bad as the mother. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use a network cable tester. I've switched off the switches in the comms cabinet, so there shouldn't be any issue of power, etc. coming down. I'm going to put one end on the cable that comes in from the comms room into the office. Then I'll go to the patch panel, plug that into each port until I eventually get the signal that I'm looking for. I'll then label it with a pencil because I'm struggling to find drivers for my Dymo labeler. We'll come back to that later. We'll stick that in there. We'll go to the comms cabinet and trace which port that cable comes out on. Alright, so I had it plugged in the wrong port, so we're going to run wire map. This is what we expect to see. Remote found. There we go. Okay, so we'll start again. I'm now going to plug the tester into each of the ports until I find the right one. We'll start number 2 first of all. Wire map, no adapter. Okay, so I've managed to trace most of the cables. Some of these ports are connected to cameras, so I can't get to the ends of them just yet because they're up a pole. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clear all the crap out the way. This is a cable going to the hoop, the coop that I need to plumb into the patch panel. That out the way. This one can come out as well. Okay, wait a minute, I've got a couple of things. Where are those two going? One will be going to Home Assistant and one will be going to the irrigation system. Now there are a couple of the cables that I've traced that are showing faults, so I'm going to have to get those sorted as well while I'm here. I'm not sure if it's the cable on the other end or the cable that comes into the patch panel, so when I take the patch panel out, I'll test all of those again. So next thing I need to do is take the Starlink router out, but figure out how to keep it running while I'm working. Let me just pick up that screw. patch panel out. Okay, so that's the top of the patch panel. I need to double check that the ones that are showing circuit issues, that the issue isn't on this end. I've got 2, 3, 4 left that I can make use of. Now, when I first installed the network, I was making use of a 48-port PoE enterprise grade switch, which meant I had to move the mounting rails all the way to the front and remove the door, otherwise it wouldn't fit. But since going off grid, that thing had to go because it was drawing 260 watts. I'm going to take the opportunity of moving the rails back so that I can put the door back on. Previously, I was using a 24-volt UPS, which I've subsequently changed to a 12-volt one. So I need to rewire the extractor fans because I had two 12-volt fans in series for 24 volts. I'm now going to rewire them in a parallel configuration to run on 12 volts. I've rewired the fans and installed them along with the patch panel. Next thing to do is install the Draytech switch and get the Starlink access point connected back up. Switch is installed, the Starlink access point is connected. We've got internet in the office. I'm now going to go and start connecting in the rest of the access points dotted around the property. So it's the next day. After lots of cursing and screaming and shouting and swearing. Thankfully the mic didn't work when I was filming, so I'm going to do a voiceover on that one. I finally figured out where I'd screwed up when I wired up the patch panel originally. So I'm now just going down to the chicken coop to go and see if we've got internet access after installing one of the Ubiquiti access points. Then we'll move on to the hoop house and see if it's meshing to the one in the hoop house. Okay, so I've just wired in the access point. It's PoE with a black cable coming in, and then I'm feeding the PoE switch for the cameras in the coop. I'm going to connect to internet and see if it's working. We're getting 135 meg download in the coop. Let's move over to the hoop house and see what's going on there. So that's the Ubiquiti access point. I've got a PoE block powering it. There's no wired connections, so let's check if it's meshing. Well, that's not great. On this access point here, I'm only getting 26 meg download, so I'm going to have to do a bit of tweaking, I think. So the plan is to pull this network cable back from behind the TV in the lounge and reroute it outside to the veranda. Hopefully it's going to be long enough. So before I do that, I need to move that chest of drawers out the way so I can get the electrical box and see if that cable is going to be long enough to reroute to the veranda. You come to have a look, Belle. You're checking it out. So I've just cut the end off and I'm going to pull that out. Then we can put the TV back. So it looks like we're in luck. I think we've got enough cable. I now need to just figure out which conduit I've got to shove it up. It's one of those at the top there. Okay, turns out that cable's not long enough because the conduit, instead of going straight up to where it comes out on the wall, it goes down and then back up, so it's too short. Okay, that took a long time. By rights, I should have pulled a new cable from the comms cabinet, but I don't have enough cable that's long enough, so I'm going for the next best option and putting a join in here. Not the best, but it should be fine. Maybe one day I'll pull another piece of cable through. I doubt that, but anyway, as long as it works, that's the main thing. Okay, so it's orange, white, orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, green, brown, white, brown. I'm going to cut these off. And you can vacuum later. Orange, white, orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, green, brown, white, brown. Orange, white, orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, green, brown, white, brown. There we go. Push them in, make sure they're all the way to the top. Then hit it with a there we go. And then we'll just use Cat 6 joiner. It's not the right way, but it'll do. Right, we'll sort that out. So I've got most of the access points mounted, well, in place. I haven't mounted them yet. I just wanted to make sure everything was working, and the ones that needed to meshed okay. So far so good. I've spent the last day or so going through all of the other devices that are connected to Wi-Fi and setting them up with a new access point name and password. I've still got a few more bits and bobs to do. I've been going through the list of devices connected to Starlink and naming them, etc. So I know which devices of which. I've still got about 8 unknown devices that I can't get access to, so I'm gonna have to figure out what they are. I still got to sort that speaker out, as well as that one over there. That camera's been sorted. I've got to mount that access point. Sadly, the microphone wasn't working for this segment, and the reason for that was I forgot to switch it on. So I'll just give you a quick rundown of what I'm doing here. I've finished installing all of the other access points. This was the last one I needed to come and install and tidy up all the cabling. I've decided that in order for me to actually finish the job, I need to make sure I finish everything, not just get it working, and on the promise of coming back to tidy up cabling afterwards. So it was a case of just mounting the access point, routing the cables, putting some new cable ends on, and tidying it all up and closing it up. I've also figured out why I'm getting such poor throughput in the hoop house. That one meshes to the access point in the chicken coop, and as you can see, the chicken coop is like a Faraday cage. So I might look at extending a hardwired connection out to the hoop house in the future. Well, that didn't take long, did it? I have to just come tidy this up before I put the door back on. So it's been a few weeks since I upgraded the network using the Ubiquiti access points that I bought. Turns out the ones that I bought are pretty old and are no longer supported, and also don't give the greatest of throughput. Probably why I got them so cheap. So I bought 2 newer models, the UAP AC Pros, and I've installed one of them in the office and one of them is just in the comms room for testing. Now, when I connect to the access point in the comms room, I'm getting pretty decent throughput, which I'm happy with. But when I go through into the office and connect to the access point in there, which is the newer model, I'm still getting crappy speeds. Not sure what's going on. I don't know if it's the switch that's causing the problem, but if it was a switch, why is the one in the comms room giving me decent throughput? So the plan is I'm going to plug the access point in the office directly into the Starlink router, and I'll power it with a PoE injector in the office and see if that improves it. So after making the change, I'm seeing a marked improvement in download speeds in the office. It's also significantly improved our experience of watching IPTV. We're not getting any buffering or anything like that anymore, so happy with that result. Need to figure out why it's not giving me the throughput that you would expect when plugged directly into the PoE switch in the comms cabinet. It's a bit of a head scratcher. Initially I thought it was the cabling that could have been a bit dodgy, but if it was the cabling I wouldn't be seeing the marked improvement that I am now. Another thing I'm going to look at doing is getting another PoE switch. Not sure if that'll make a difference, but the one that I've got's only got 8 PoE ports, and I need more than 8. That's it for this week, guys. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to see if I can eventually manage to get the full 400 odd megabits per second download through these Ubiquiti access points. As I said, a lot more head scratching to do, but I'm sure we'll get there in the end. Until next time, stay safe out there. Ciao.